So, there are two factions in this. Faction 1 is, we don't want to pull anybody because the AC collab is coming out. So I need to get Ezio, I need to get XYZ. So in the patch, the collab that is coming after this, clearly. By the way, we're going to do a watch party on Saturday whenever the live comes out. We're going to watch it together, okay? That said, the other faction is, nah, I don't want the AC collab. I'm more interested in getting, in finishing my teams and getting new teams like the Nautica one, which is a limited patch, followed by other characters that complement and finish, quote unquote, the teams that I will be starting in 2.8. So I don't want to do the collab. I care more about like the characters in the game than they're like a random collab. They're not gonna be strong anyway. Or if they're strong, they're like a side grade instead of an upgrade. Now these two, depending on where you are, you're gonna feel differently about pulling Kiperina, especially if you don't have Impromptu. Like if you're not an Impromptu player, you might have a harder time justifying picking up Kiperina right before the AC collab, right before the 2.8. So you might say like, hey, I don't really need Kiperina. In that case, that's fair, in my opinion. If you have other healers that you can use, if you have Fatutu, if you have Sotheby, if you have Vila, if you have even Tooth Fairy, if you have Medicine Pocket, if you have Ezra, even depending on which characters you have, you might not really need Kiperina. So, but if you have Impromptu, I feel like if you have Impromptu, you kind of want Kiperina because Kiperina is obviously the final piece for Impromptu. Impromptu works even without Kiperina, but if you want to double down and triple down and quadruple down on the Impromptu quality of life and damage and survivability, while at the same time providing value for Impromptu, like survivability plus boost for Impromptu, then Kiperina is like a really good good unit. So if you don't have Impromptu, if you still don't know, you should check the guide that I made like yesterday, that came out yesterday. You should check the guide for more in details, but TLDR, Kiperina is giving a lot of value from her kit. Regardless if you have Impromptu or not, if you don't, even if you're using it outside of Impromptu, and this is my argument for whether or not you should pull Kiperina if you don't have Impromptu, right? In case you don't have Impromptu, you're still getting Cosmic Radiation, which is a debuff that makes you do 30% more damage and makes it easier for you to crit, because it lowers the rate of the enemy resistance to crits by 30%. So in a way, it's a convoluted classical R99 way of saying that you'll get a 30% more crit rate, basically, because it makes it easier to crit, plus 30% damage. That said, this is Cosmic Radiation from the ultimate. You're also getting Dispelling All stats down, negative status and control from all allies, which is really good. And this you are gonna miss it because you're not playing it with Impromptu. You will still get it because the moment you have an Impromptu character in your team that doesn't focus on Impromptu, you will still get an uninspected, no element Impromptu, which will be the one that only Kiperina is keeping up. Like she will spawn her own Impromptu, but it's not gonna be it's not gonna be that much powerful. It does help a little bit because 6 points of inspiration plus this attack that only gives anything to Impromptu. For the rest, it's just a mass attack that does no damage. So it consumes Eureka. So you will still get a little bit of an Impromptu, even outside of proper Impromptu teams, just by using Kiperina. But the main thing would be the shield. Why do people say that you should maybe consider keeping and pulling Kiperina for even if you don't have Impromptu? Because of the shield, obviously. She is automatically casting the shield, which is from the inside. You don't have to do anything. You will, at the end of the round, gain 1 stack of Aurora Corona, and then on inside 3 we'll talk about Aurora Corona. So the round dispels 1 type of control from all allies, then consumes all Eureka, casts 1 rank 1 for every 2 Eureka consumed. So you will be getting +4 Eureka when entering battle, plus you playing the game will generate, by critting, you or the mini impromptu that she will generate, you will generate Eureka. Thanks to that, your allies plus her probably, plus the impromptu incantation critting will give her a +1 Eureka, as you can see here. Then thanks to that, you will get Aurora Corona stacks, plus you will ensure that you will be able to dispel a control from all allies, which is gonna be Petrify or Stun or, I don't know, Charmed, stuff like that. And then you will consume a Eureka and cast For Everyone. For Everyone is the shield. Now, the Kiperina shield is really, really big. So, you know, it grants a shield scaling with Kiperina's attack HP to all allies for 2 rounds. Then, if you actively use this buff, because this also appears automatically on Inside 3, if you use this buff, you will grant 30% more shield HP. On top of that, if you are casting this card, or it doesn't matter, even automatically, on someone that already has the shield, you will give stacks for everyone to existing shield, and now this will give everybody a buff, okay? You will have allies critical rate increased by 1.5% and critical damage by 1.2 for every 600, and it's not really difficult to get 5-6k, so this is like, I would assume that this is like a 10% critical rate and 8% critical damage average, just to be sure and chill on level 1. This doesn't really increases too much with the card rank, but you will be increasing the HP of the shield. So if you're casting bigger cards ranks, you will be getting to that 15% and 12%, right? So that said, you also get, like I said before, Aurora Corona, which is a buff which you will not get too high. Or even if you do manage to, it goes up to 20 stacks, but at 8 stacks or above gives you all ally incantation, get 1 additional point of inspiration, which is like only helping the mini impromptu that Kiperina is spawning, which is whatever, is not your point. So this is all you care about, in my opinion. 1 stack or above, increase all allies damage dealt, just damage, by 10%. You will never get to 20 stacks, but even then, in case you do, for whatever it is, somehow, maybe you have 2 impromptu characters, or maybe you're using like P something, Kiperina. Maybe it's possible, I don't think so. So I would just look at level 1, but otherwise it would be 50% of excess crit rate of this round impromptu convert to critical damage. Another thing that you don't care, right? But besides that, when people say that Kiperina is a global shielder, like global supporter you could use everywhere, and I said it as well at the end of my video, is because it's true. Well, all you need from a support is to not let you die in a way or another, be healing or shield, and giving you something. Now, like let's say 60% of her kit is not that used. If you are like slotting her in a team that is not impromptu, but you will still get not only infinite shield that is very, very hard to break, even in Reverie, automatic dispel from I3, as long as you have, even if you don't have Eureka, you will still dispel, but maybe you will not get the shield, but it's really hard to not get the automatic shield, because you just have to crit, and almost every character in the game is spec'd into critting, more or less, almost every character, you know what I mean? And then you get this buff from the shield, so, you know, it's a good character that you could consider getting, but at the same time, that's why I started the video saying 2 factions, because it makes sense that if you don't have impromptu and you already have other healers, then you don't really need Kiperina. You don't really need something like this. If whatever she offers outside of impromptu is of any importance to you, then sure, if you really wanted a healer, maybe you don't have Babel, maybe you don't have Ezra, or you're planning on using Ezra on the Dynamo team, which will not move or something, or maybe you want to do it on the Bloodtide team, depending on which Ezra you like, or maybe you already have multiple of these healers, maybe you already have Fatutu, maybe you already have Sotheby, Babel for shield if you're like a shield enjoyer, Medicine Pocket Euphoria, which also shields, you know, and gives you, they all give you something different. So in this case, if you don't have impromptu, if you have extra pulls and you don't care about the XC collab, you could pick up Kiperina. But if you have Impromptu and you don't care about the AC collab, then you should get Kiperina. This is my TLDR. Only get Kiperina if you have leftover pools or you are a spender if you don't have Impromptu. Or if you have Impromptu, just get her. This is the last piece. You don't need anything else. That team is done. You can use it till the end of times. It's gonna take game revolution to make Impromptu not good anymore. It's impossible almost because of the way it scales, and you know it's always gonna be overwhelming damage, way above the minimum damage required to clear anything. Obviously, some stages in Reveries are going to counter Impromptu, but that happens with every team. No, you can't use the same teams everywhere. I tried. I tried. Maybe I will do it. I don't know. I tried using these two teams, but I digress. I tried using Impromptu and Blood Tide to just clear randomly, blindly all of Reverie. Obviously, it doesn't work because you get countered by weird-ass mechanics. That said, rambling over. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you're gonna pull Kiperina or if you're gonna pull for the AC collab or whatever that's gonna happen. What's your plan? Thank you for watching and see you next time.